All right. Welcome to the Fredonia Central School Board of Education meeting for Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. We start every meeting with a pledge to the flag, so please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we have a proposed agenda for tonight's meeting with a consent agenda, excluding A1 under personnel and all under new business. We do have an addendum, and I think everybody received that this afternoon. Is there anything that anybody would like to have pulled from that addendum? All right, good. I think I passed my test for the first addendum. All right. So, is there anything that anything else that anyone would like pulled out of consent? Good with that? Okay. Could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Ms. Hahn, thank you. A second?
Second.
Ms. Wortman, okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on, we move into our first public comment of the night. So we have a policy with this, so I'm going to read the policy to you, to our audience. Adoption of the consent agenda, I'm sorry, the consent. The board has reserved this time to hear comments from the audience. Those wishing to address the board are asked to stand, give your name and address, and limit your comments to 5 minutes or less per individual group. Concerns and comments during this session, though, should be directly related to items listed on the proposed agenda. So we do have a second round of public comment at the end. If it's related to something that's not on the agenda, you're welcome to speak at that time. Audience members seeking response should complete a board correspondence sheet and return it to the district clerk. So is there anybody that would like to speak on what's on the agenda tonight? Okay, all right. So I assume it's at the end. Okay. All right, well, we'll move on then. Next is we have to approve the minutes of the regular meeting from October 17th. Could I have a motion to approve those minutes? So moved. Mr. Marshall, a second?
Second.
Mr. Kinney, thank you. Any comments on the minutes? Okay, therefore, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks. We also have some minutes that are from the Facilities Committee meeting from October 8th. Could I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comments on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great. All right, moving right in. So, on to, we have a special presentation. So we have a special presentation to acknowledge new members of staff.
Yeah.
Resilience.
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody that each school year brings its ups and downs, highs and lows, things we celebrate and things that make us a little bit sad. So every year there are retirees to our school district, and oftentimes they are people who have been in the district for a long period of time. And we try to honor those people at the end of a school year. On a more positive note, that has created an opening that somebody who currently doesn't work in the district office or work in the district currently, and it brings a new set of individuals, new blood, so to speak, into the district with some new ideas, some new ways of doing things, maybe some experience from prior districts, maybe some experience from their student teaching experience. And we're always excited at the beginning of each year to have those new people in the district. And we wanted to take a moment tonight, and probably for people who couldn't attend, into our next board meeting, to put names with faces, hear from our new staff members a little bit, give them a chance to come to the mic, and just run us through some basic bio information, but also maybe give us a little sense of how things are going thus far in Fredonia, what might be happening in their area of responsibility right now. So we're excited, and we do have a couple of Fredonia grads in the mix here, so I didn't know if Liz might be able to come up and share just a minute or two of information with our board and remind everybody who you are, Liz.
Thank you, Dr. Ziliaks. My name is Elizabeth Bumpus. I went to school here, and I am currently teaching social studies at the high school. I have 11th graders and 12th graders. A couple of my government students are here today doing their outside observation for the Q1. And my 11th graders are currently working on reform movement projects. Favorite thing about Fredonia is that we are such a tight-knit community, and we are looking towards the future of our community. Thank you.
Very nice. Sebastian, how about you?
Hi, nice to meet everybody. Thanks for having us. My name is Sebastian Guerra. I teach 8th grade social studies here. I also went to school here K through 12. Couldn't get enough and went to stuck around for college here too. So I'm doing it. Currently, we're doing the Old West in our class right now. So we've talked about things like the wagon trails, Oregon Trail, how the transcontinental helps settle the West. Tomorrow, we're talking about the lifestyle of cowboys, ranchers, farmers, and all that. Skill-wise, much begrudgingly so to the students, we're working on lots of reading comprehension and writing skills because as good as they think there are, they're not quite where I'd like them to be yet, so it's something to work on there. About Fredonia, it feels great to kind of have like a home again. I was working in Lancaster for the last 4 years, and while I enjoyed the district very much, it feels good to have a place kind of like hang your hat, because I was subbing there, so it was just kind of new to me every single day. I didn't know what I would be doing, so now that I have something to look forward to come every day and keep consistency here and keep building on things instead of just handing them off to someone else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Mimi, how about you?
Hi, my name is Mimi Joint. This year I'm teaching high school AP Statistics and Computer Applications. I come from Buffalo, New York, where I graduated from Holy Angels Academy, moved to Fredonia in 2007 for college and made it my home. In my classes in computer applications, I've worked on digital citizenship and am incorporating a lot of social emotional learning in my curriculum. And AP Stats, the big focus is that exam at the end of the year and preparing the students for that. One of my most favorite parts about being at Fredonia is going down to Miss Zappi's room at the end of the day, grabbing my first grader, walking home, and gathering my daughter. But I've also really enjoyed the relationships that I've built in the offices and working with Mr. Truinski in the environmental club, and maybe starting up a gardening club with some other staff around the building. So I'm having a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good, very good. Courtney, how about you?
Hi, my name is Courtney Kirshnak. I went to Lockport High School and then SUNY Fredonia for both my bachelor's and my master's degree. I teach 3rd grade right now. We have been really hammering in on fluency for multiplication facts, and now we're working on relating that to division. And then for our ELA, our focus is author's purpose, and we're just kind of walking into informational texts. For what I like most so far about working here has been my 3rd grade team. It's really nerve-wracking to start my very first year of teaching, but they welcome me immediately and have been so helpful and supportive of everything I've done so far, and they really made work a great place to come every day. I'm excited for it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Stacy?
Hello, my name is Stacy Wallace. I graduated from Maryville High School. Fredonia State brought me here and they kept me, and so this has been home for quite some time. And right now I'm high school, working with 9th, almost all the way through, because all the way through 12th. And resource room, along with working with Miss Merwin and Global and Miss Addington in applied math. So applied math, we're working on checkbooks and trying to understand the taxes and stuff when you buy your food, or not your food so much, but when you buy your other things. And then global studies, we're learning about the beginning of time and the early civilizations and where they settled and why. So, and my favorite thing is I kind of have to remind myself that I am new here because it does feel like home and doesn't feel like it's been such a short time. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ella?
Hi, my name is Ella Wiggers. I'm the social worker and I'm in the middle and elementary schools. I'm also a SUNY Fredonia graduate and I got my master's at Edinburgh University. Some things that my focus has been on this year so far is definitely attendance and trying to come up with an individualized plan for some of these kiddos and getting them invested and connected at Fredonia. Also linking families with services within the school district and in the outside community, and doing a fair amount of individual and group counseling right now. So there's more to come, I'm sure, but that's where we're starting off. And my experience has been great. People have been very supportive, so I very much appreciate that. And I'm just happy to see, more to come. So nice to meet you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any of our administrators want to chime in on any, just start of the school year, new vibe with the new employees we have?
I think we're up to a great start. Thanks for those that were able to attend tonight. I think they've jumped right in, hit the ground running. At least for the middle school staff that has joined, I mean, they're immediately a part of our middle school family. So it's definitely an exciting time for us.
Yeah, anytime you're a new person in a building, it is nice to have a team. And I was happy to hear that Courtney is getting along well with the third grade team, and that's really touching to hear that she's happy to come to work, which is great. And Ella is shared between the middle school and the elementary school, and that's tricky, but she's navigating that great. Has a presence in both buildings, which is hard when you're shared staff, which both folks are doing a good job, so welcome everybody.
So at the end of the day, we just wanted to celebrate a little bit, thank everybody for their hard work. We appreciate people getting the school year off to a positive start. Sometimes we do have that honeymoon. I feel like this year that's been extended a little bit. As I travel around the district, I feel like the energy and the attitude in each building is very positive, and hopefully we can keep that going here as we get closer to the holidays. But it's been a good start, and certainly thanks to everybody, including our students, who have been doing a great job as well.
Yeah, this is a great idea. We should make this a tradition of every fall and invite new staff members. We see you on paper, right? But it's nice to meet you in person. So thank you for taking the time to come tonight and introduce yourselves. Having said that, you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting if you don't want to. You're free to go, or you're free to stay if you'd like to hear the intricacies of the board meeting. So, but again, thank you for coming tonight. And there are a couple of Fredonia graduates that were my own kids when they were here, so I'm feeling my age tonight. All right, so now on to our financial reports. Equally exciting. We'll start with the budget status and our investment and revenue reports. Mr. Forbes.
Yeah, we'll kind of handle those all together. Also bringing in the dashboard. So the big tickets in the month of September, we receive our lottery aid payment, which is about $2.1 million. They break it into lottery, gaming, and wagering now, but it's about $2.1 million, and also $22,000 of textbook aid. And then also we have to book, it's an in and out entry and expense for teacher retirement contribution for September, which was $525,000. There's a corresponding entry on the revenue side as an offset because the state basically is giving it and taking it back as a charge. We also received $23,000 in pilot payment in lieu of taxes, which was scheduled, and that was on time. And we've also seen in the interest area rates dipping from 5.2, 5.3 in July to 4.6, 4.5. Through investments going out into November, and from what I understand, that was due to the uncertainty of the election in one part and all the things going on in the Middle East in another part. So looks like they're steadying a little bit, but they did dip below. So pretty much all I have on that.
Any questions on that? Okay. Well, that takes us to the treasurer's report. Could I have a motion to bring that to the table? Ms. Fortna, second?
Second.
Mr. Marshall, thank you. Mr. Forbes? Anything on the treasurer's report?
No comment on that, everything was balanced.
It's nice to hear. All those, any comments on the treasurer's report? I've already said that already. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We have another transportation contract to approve. We've had a number this fall. This one is a 31-day emergency transportation contract. Can I have a motion to bring that to the table?
So moved.
Ms. Gullo, thank you. Second?
Second.
Ms. Fortner, thanks. Can you elaborate on that, Mr. Forbes?
Yeah, you approved previously the first 31-day emergency contract. This is number 2. We're allowed to do 2, and then it has to be bid, which is ongoing right now. This was for an additional run that we added for a North Collins student who was going to Carrier, and for a Fredonia student who had to get to Carrier and back. So I did it with the 31 days contracts to see how it worked, make sure the timing was good before we locked in on the contract, and things seem to be going well there. So I said the 31-day, this is number 2, and you'll have next meeting the approval of the bid for the rest of the year.
Okay, all right. Any questions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The last item on our financial portion of the meeting is to approve another set of applications for corrected tax rolls for the 24-25 school tax levy. Could I have a motion to bring that to the table?
So moved.
Ms. Hahn, a second?
Second.
Mr. Kinney? Mr. Forbes, are we getting close to the end of these tax corrections?
The official tax collection ended on the 1st, but we got some straggling stuff for the next week or so, and then you'll have a report at the next meeting on that. This particular case is a little bit different. There was a structure that was damaged by fire and was not inspected in time to make the original roll. And once they inspected and realized that the structure wasn't whole anymore, there was a reduction in the assessment.
Okay, sounds sensible. Any questions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks, Mr. Forbes. Under personnel, we only have one item tonight, and that's to approve the recommendation of Frank Briandi to a tenured position in the physical education tenure area. Could I have a motion to bring that to the table?
So moved.
Mr. Marshall, a second?
Second.
Both of you. Ms. Gallo, I'll go with you. Dr. Ziliak.
Yeah, I wanted to share, Mr. Briandi couldn't be here tonight, but he wanted me to read the following statement addressed to the Board of Education. He said, I would like to express my gratitude for being granted my tenure at Fredonia Central School District. I'm extremely thankful for this opportunity to teach physical education here at the elementary school. I enjoy very much my job and love working with our students. I look forward to the future here in Fredonia schools and continuing teaching for many years to come. Thank you again. I very much appreciate all the support I've been shown since I came on board here in Fredonia. For those of you who might not know Mr. Briandi, he is a gentleman who brings a calm, cool confidence to his work and just has a great energy and attitude about what he does, and I think he walks that line between taking his job seriously and also being willing to have some fun and connect and relate to the students in an appropriate way that builds relationships and connections and really makes him part of the elementary school, but also part of another caring adult for our students as they think about the adults that they interact with throughout a given day or days in which they have physical education. So we're excited. I'm glad to have Frank on board and have been very pleased with his work. Again, as a Board of Education and Superintendent, we take tenure very seriously. We believe this is something that is earned and not given, and we believe Mr. Briandi has certainly earned this recognition at this point in his career. Mr. Drottinger, other things to add?
Just, if you don't know Frank, I know personally that he's a very good golfer, so I tasked him with bringing golf to the curriculum at the elementary level. I think that I would enjoy that, and so would the kids. So I think he's gonna work to do that. So yeah, he's a great guy, and like Dr. Ziliak said, tenure is very important, and we don't take these things lightly, but I would wholeheartedly recommend Frank for approval tonight.
Great, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I hear he's very good at his craft. I know a few teachers that speak highly of him, so we welcome him, you know, and congratulate him to obtaining his tenure. It's well deserved. All right, we've moved right along here. That leads us to our second round of public comment tonight, and I'll skip through the formalities, but it's open to any comments. Is there anybody that would like to address the board tonight? Thank you. If you could please state your name and your address.
Sure.
There's a microphone.
I'm not going to use the mic.
Well, you're not going to use
I don't
it.
need, I'm a Marine officer, I don't need to use the mic. So, first and foremost, my name is Robert Moore. My address is 9055 Fredonia Stockton Road. So I'm sort of a local guy here now. I know that you all have received a copy of this letter, but I wanted to read it to you as a matter of record, so that it is documented. My stance, our stance, on particular tax increases that may be taking place that are currently on the table. So I will go ahead and read this letter. The purpose of this letter is to make an appeal of great concern to the Fredonia Central School District regarding the proposed school tax increases from three propositions, including building maintenance, music space expansion, and a multi-purpose sport complex. Regrettably, I apparently missed a public survey and more recent vote by the school board to put these proposals on the ballot due to my out-of-state active duty military service. As is also the case with my partners, as we have remotely been involved in the process of building a local business and community investment. It is important to point out that citizens recognize the need of good schools and supporting them financially within good reason. A school, like any business or household, needs regular maintenance and improvements. At these times, financial decisions have to be made in the reality that needs and wants often exceed limited funds. However, the difference between schools and a business or household is that schools garner money from a somewhat anonymous source in a pool of money of taxpayers, whereas the latter must make more painful cuts and wait. It's a much more personal reality for them. The school proposal, although grand, are a great concern to me due to the unprecedented tax increase and burden it will impose on our local taxpayers. Although not a native of Fredonia, I recently have made a considerable economic investment here along with two partners who do have roots here. My partners and I saw an opportunity to acquire a beautiful land in western New York to build something that will serve the community in more ways than one, including veterans, first responders, and various groups, including youth. As you can imagine, with that also comes a considerable mortgage, property taxes, and of course, school taxes. Understandably, there will always be a cost associated with our operations and maintenance, but the cost with such an immense increase in school taxes is both alarming and worrisome. We realize that funding the school proposals is challenging due to the decreasing population and businesses that have left the area, resulting in a diminished tax base. But what of the remaining citizens or businesses? Expecting them to shoulder the burden is simply not sustainable over time. In fact, an unintended consequence is likely more citizens and businesses vacating in search of places where the cost of living and taxes are not so severe. This extreme increase in school tax may very well have affected my decision to make a sizable investment. An affordable school tax must be considered. As stated, I am not a native of Fredonia. However, my partners and those they know from older generations who are from here have found memories of their glory days of attending school in Fredonia. Even they can't make sense of how the school had what they claim was double the school's enrollment of now, but were successful in half the space. If this is true, what has changed beyond diminished businesses? Good teachers and coaches inspire students regardless of space. I don't understand why there are so many school districts duplicating building projects in such small populations. Why aren't schools merging? I was told that New York had a governor in the past named Cuomo who, when he came into office, planned to force schools to consolidate, if not by choice, due to the bad economy. Economic indicators likely show that the New York State has not come out of the downward spiral, if not worse. If we look at schools around the nation who have a state-of-the-art accommodations, it's because they have a thriving business community and a growing population that keeps taxes low and inviting. In closing, this tax increase will make the remaining household and businesses hemorrhage. It's like continuing a treatment of poison that caused the illness in the first place. I ask that you reconsider or adjust these proposals that in their current state will result in an unsustainable cost of living in Fredonia. What then? Your source of funding is not a faceless pool of people. It is made up of the individuals challenged in making their own personal and financial sacrifices. Who among us can pledge to build or continue a business upon a retirement, not run away to one of those tax-friendly states? The point of contact for this letter is myself, Colonel Robert Moore, United States Marine Corps. And if I may speak frankly, yes, I didn't grow up here in Fredonia. In fact, I didn't even grow up in New York. My first time coming to New York was just simply two and a half years ago. But I will say this, schools are not about the structures, the buildings, cement, mortar, brick, what have you. Schools are about the teachers that have worked hard to get where they got, that teach the kids, that care about learning. Like that young lady just said, she sees a thriving, I'm sorry, that young lady over there, she sees a thriving community here in Fredonia, and she wants the future to get better for those that are coming up. If you do this tax, you will force people like her into an unaffordable situation to where she can't stay here in this county, and you will lose a good teacher, a good fireman, a good potential mayor, a good principal down the road. You have to consider these things. It will hemorrhage here. I have seen it in other places I have lived. I've seen it in military towns that are overtaxed and they become decayed beyond belief. And the military town I currently live in is extremely decayed because they have overtaxed people and people move away and go to Florida, go to Texas, go to places where school taxes aren't even a thing. At least you don't see them to that level. I pay over $18,000 a year in taxes. Majority of that is school taxes. Me personally, I can't afford to have an increase in my taxes. And we are building something great here. I don't know if you've heard of Range Ranch, but we intend not just to serve veterans, soon to be a veteran hopefully like myself and others, first responders, teachers, children. I saw heard the other gentleman, I think he left, who talked about he's teaching these kids about the West and the building of the West. What better place to take your kids to on a field trip than a local ranch right here? Not very costly and very cheap. So I say this from the bottom of my heart. Please keep in mind as you vote on this tax proposal and understand that I grew up with substandard sports facilities and we did extremely well. It's not about the equipment, it's about the coaches, it's about leadership. Let us all lead the way into the future. And be more inviting for people to come to Fredonia. Make it a destination location. Don't make it a location that becomes desolate where people want to move away from because they're being overtaxed and they can't afford it. Thank you for your time. Barring any questions, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Thank you for your comments. Thank you. Any other comments tonight?
My name's Mary Days, 4422 Osborne Road. I'm with these people here, and I'm not sure what I was going to say, but the former students that came, the teachers, I went to Rob, I said, I taught them, okay? Was it first or was it fourth?
It's fourth grade.
Fourth. But Smash, he was first, so you hear those names, you remember them. I know the board received a letter from me before I retired about my retirement, which was about this much, and then the rest was just from the inside, potential cost-saving measures. There are measures of cost-saving that don't cut anybody's salary or anybody's positions. And I'll just say it wasn't well received, and I'll leave it at that. It was difficult for me at the end. But I am happy that they have made a considerable financial investment. And so you need to listen to people like that from the business perspective about taxes. And in my letter also I had stated, I'm retiring here, I love my property, I love the ruinous of it. I don't plan to move away with my New York State pension, but you know a lot of people do, and they take their pensions with them. So that's the reality of the tax situation. And yes, in 1980, there were about 220 students who graduated from Fredonia Central School. You do not have that now. You're lucky if you even break 100. So I'm just saying they did well. They did well. So I just wanted to add that, and I'm happy that we are trying to build something here. We really are, and have high hopes for it. But don't make us hemorrhage, as he said. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nace. Any other comments tonight on the public? Well, thank you for coming. We appreciate your comments. Dr. Ziliaks, on to our superintendent's report.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that Robert, Mary, and, sir, I can't remember your name.
Oh, I'm her youngest, Ryan Days.
Ryan, right. They had came, I believe it was over the summer.
Yes.
Came up to the office, and we spent some time chatting and kind of working through some of these issues, and I appreciate any time anyone comes to the school or comes to our board meetings to increase the dialogue and have a conversation. And I just wanted to note that we did have a chance to dialogue prior to this meeting, and I appreciated you making some time to do that. And we appreciate your perspective.
Well, thank you. We did want to do that so that no one was blindsided. We came to see you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Appreciate it, yep. Just a couple quick notes tonight. One of the things that we've been working on is our Board of Education student representative. I was hoping to connect with a couple students yesterday. That didn't happen. Today we had an in-service day, so they weren't in session, so I'm not going to release any names tonight. But this year we're taking a slightly different approach than we did last year, in which we just named one Board of Education rep. This year with the pool of candidates, which was very interesting, very positive, and really a unique collection of individuals. We have decided this year to name a primary representative and then an alternate. Part of the reason for that is to draw from different perspectives amongst the students, and students who connect with different groups within their activities and what they're involved in. We also noticed last year, although our student rep was fantastic, she had numerous things going on, and there were some nights that we didn't have a student rep here. Due to no fault of her own, we encouraged her to go and continue with those commitments. But this will give us an option on those evenings that our primary representative can't be here. We'll have somebody else to be here in their place. So we're going to invite both of them to the next meeting, do some introductions, probably take a few pictures. And we're excited for the second year to have a student with us. Again, the original thought behind this was building into what we do as a Board of Education, along with the superintendent and an admin team, is have the student voice be present here during our meetings. We also are looking this year to connect more to the idea of those students gathering some information and then presenting it here in terms of some feedback and some responses to some questions that either myself, our admin team, or the Board of Education would be interested in exploring a little bit more. So we look to make that more part of the routine than it was last year. So again, we're excited and just wanted to update everybody there. Also for New York State, yesterday was an interesting day. As you know, the Board of Regents meets in Albany periodically throughout the year, and yesterday there was an announcement that people have been waiting on a little bit through the Blue Ribbon Commission, who's been working on what do graduation requirements look like down the road. How are we going to be preparing students for a successful future within our pre-K to 12 systems as well as beyond. And there's going to be some shifts coming. Now, two things that New York State sometimes gets criticized for is, one, not gathering any input and making decisions in isolation, and also creating a timeline that's unreasonable for significant change. And I think to give state education some credit, I think they addressed both of those issues within what they've done here. So this conversation and engaging stakeholders started actually in 2019. And just to read a couple brief statistics here, they held 19 in-person or regional meetings in between now and then. There was some pause in there for COVID and whatnot, but they also did 8 virtual meetings throughout the winter and spring of 2001 into 2002. They also have had 86 what they call ambassador forums, which are smaller groups to interact and have some dialogue around this. From those ambassador forums, about 3,300 individuals participated in those sessions. There was also thought exchange presentations where people could go online, provide comments, and then also comment on the comments of other people. And about 2,700 people were involved in those efforts. So compared to what we have experienced in some situations in the past, this is a definite effort to involve stakeholders, allow individuals to have a voice in this process. And this was people from both within the field of education or outside the field of education. Anybody can participate in these discussions. And I think that should be noted as we work through this. Now, the other part is sometimes the timeline is a little bit off. So there's a few things that were announced that I just want to read through. And one of the things that was announced that the State Education Department will be implementing what they are calling the 4 transformations. And they write, our strategy is designed to responsibly and effectively implement the 4 key transformations. One of them will be adopting a New York State Portrait of a Graduate, which Mr. Aldrich has referenced numerous times over the course of his time on our board. Secondly, redefining credits to focus on proficiency. Third, sunsetting diploma assessment requirements. And lastly, moving to 1 diploma. Now, there's a lot of pros and cons and conversation about those things, but that is the plan. The plan features a structured timeline consisting of planning years, followed by 3 distinct phases, which I'll talk about in a minute. Also continuing to gather feedback from stakeholders as we go through this process will be part of what they're doing. And also the plan allocates time for thorough planning, professional learning opportunities, and clear communication amongst all participants. So this was sort of the big news that came out of Albany yesterday. And in terms of that planning time frame, now they use cohorts when they start school as 9th graders. So for example, they refer to the 2024 cohort, which would have been students who started in 9th grade in 2024. So they would be students that will actually graduate 4 years later. So the timing is a little bit weird in that respect, because I tend to think about it in terms of when a student graduates, not when they started 9th grade. But there is a planning year for school districts just to take in this news, consider this, have conversations amongst admin teams, conversations amongst faculty meetings, amongst the various teams we have across the building, or the district in all of our buildings, and that will take place really from now until the end of this coming summer. And the beginning of installing some of these things will take place from the fall of 2025 through the summer of 2027. And that means we'll begin to process this information and put things in place little by little. The initial official implementation phase will go from 2027 to 2029, and full implementation will happen right around the fall of 2029. So, although these things are coming out currently and it's a lot to process, there's definitely, in my mind, a reasonable amount of time, not only for school districts to get sort of their minds around what these things are, but then plan and implement these things really over the next 5 years or so. So this is exciting news. You know, we'll see what this will bring. We have not processed this internally, since literally this has happened over the last 24 hours. But certainly there'll be more discussion, more information shared with the Board of Education here, and time to process this information and make some determinations about what this means for us at Fredonia and how we can best move forward. I don't know if there's any questions from the board at this point. I know I just forwarded this email earlier today, but this is a significant shift, for sure.
Any questions on the superintendent's report? No? I'm pleased on both fronts. The graduation metrics, I feel they're outdated. I feel like we need updated. I'm glad they have a timeline. They're taking their time with this. And I'm really looking forward to welcoming our new representatives, to the student representatives to the table. That was fantastic. We started that last year, and the state now is requiring it, so we're ahead of the curve on that. So really looking forward to some diverse conversation with our new student members. Our next Board of Education meeting will be on Tuesday, November 19th at 6 p.m. here in the library. Are there any other general comments from the board tonight? No? No? Mr. Paschke is absent. Do you have anything to read out from Mr. Paschke, or are we?
You know I do, but why don't we do a lap? Okay. I actually have some information for both Mr. Paschke and Mrs. Piper, who's not here as well. But you caught me off guard a little bit.
So that's okay. You're up first, Ms. Paulus.
Perfect. So, you know, I appreciate the flexibility of the community and our staff in shifting our in-service day from Friday to today. I think it was a wildly productive day with some thoughtful data conversations across grade levels, content areas. We had some cross-curricular discussions where ELA met with social studies. Team meetings were then able to take place. Other iReady data conversations were able to happen. And that didn't impact any student learning because, of course, they didn't have to have substitutes in their room or generate sub-plans or anything like that. So it was a very productive day. I think there was a lot of work that happened during today's in-service day, so I'm grateful for all of the staff that partook in that. We have a Veterans Day parade that Kristen Tomaszewski has worked hard to coordinate across the district, and I'm sure Darren would have shared that also. He might have in his notes with you. But so we'll have the veterans in the high school cafeteria, and then parading through our buildings where our students will line up and clap, and then head over to Wheelock. And we're excited because next week we'll be heading to WASED for some professional learning. I've never been able to go. You know, Paula, this was certainly something that she was very passionate about. And so this year I will be able to go and see all the great work that happens there. I know Amanda Pakinowski and Margaret Gray have worked to generate some collaborations between middle school and elementary school by way of a STEM Buddies kind of program. She just brought her 8th graders down to Margaret's elementary classroom just the other day. So I'm excited to hear what they are presenting to the entire WASED community at the conference. So that's something I'm looking forward to.
Great, thank you. Yeah, we do a great job honoring the veterans here. It's really impressive what we do here. And great swap out with the in-service day, so that we could protect our youngest kids in Wheelock today, keep them safe. So that's fantastic. Thank you. Mr. Drollinger.
Yeah, last Friday we had a first ever mystery reader event, and it was really cool. So we brought the student body to the Odd, and we picked 6 teachers, and they dressed up in a full costume, so you couldn't tell who they were, masks and wigs. And then they had to read a picture book, and we altered their voices like electronically, and then the kids had to guess who it was. So it was the first time we did it, and the kids really loved it. So, you know, we're just trying to continue like celebrating reading and you know, encouraging staff and teacher engagement. So it was a really cool event. We're gonna tweak it and do it again next year. We've got a few more reading events planned for the rest of the year. And today we had our representative from HMH, that's our new reading program, in the building, and she was from Dallas, Texas, a 19-year teacher, 30 years in education, and she worked with all of our teachers today to help them better understand the reading curriculum. And it was really well received, and it was good to learn alongside the teachers about the program. And then we're going to take our first steps with the new Leader in Me program, and we're going to send out a survey soon to all students, staff, and family members. And that's just going to be used to help us better understand the perceptions of our school. And we're going to take that data the first week in December and meet with the Leader in Me coach, and we're going to set some goals for our buildings. So I'm looking forward to doing that. So that's all we have.
Thank you.
Thanks.
A lot. Ms. Farrow?
I agree with my colleagues. Today was a great, really productive day. I think the timing for professional development was really well planned. Personally, what I did, I met with our middle school and high school special ed staff. We did some planning for the rest of this year, and we really started to take a good look at our students and configurations of services for next year. So I feel like we have a nice start on some conversations there. Our targeted skills group got together today, and that is the group that's going to be working with state ed to examine our dropout rate for students with disabilities. So we have our second formal meeting with state ed representatives tomorrow. We're going to be examining data sources, developing thoughts on important factors that have impacted graduation rates, and then we're going to begin to develop an action plan. So it's a year-long process, so I'll give you regular updates on that. And just unified bowling is beginning, and plans for the annual polar plunge, which will be about 1 month from now, are, underway. So.
Great, thank you. That's great to hear about, I've said this before, data. It's great, we look forward to your findings, Mr. Golden, same thing, so thank you very much. Ms. Wright.
I don't have much more to say after all of that today. As we know, it was the in-service day, so it was exciting to know that our staff from every single discipline had the opportunity to be together, to work together without the stress of students, of subplans and things like that. And the full day could just give that robust amount of time to dive into data. And that's really what everybody was doing, grades 5 through 12, was taking that time to look at those things and to have those curricular conversations and to say, what does this mean? How can we use this to inform instruction? Where do we see this going? We also had the opportunity, as Mr. Drollinger said, for our HMH person to come and give that first true, training, if you will, but after our teachers have had that chance to live it for a little while. And kudos to Mr. Drollinger. He created a document where teachers could put things in ahead of time and send that to the rep ahead of time so that we knew exactly what targeted way to meet those needs of the teachers, that it was known ahead of time. So it was very thoughtfully planned, and Mr. Drollinger worked with that facilitator to make sure that the day would meet the teachers' needs. So it was very well received, so thank you, Mr. Drollinger, for all your work in that. Also this morning we met with STEM and CTE, Career Technical Education, STEM, Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. We've been working to get, as I call it, the field of dreams, all those little pieces, and now we're starting to converge and bring those together in a synergistic way. And it's exciting because this comes right after those blue ribbon graduation, commission announced some of those pathways, and many of those pathways align with STEM education. In fact, STEM is referenced throughout that. So it was very timely. Some of the new indicators include performance tasks versus paper pencil testing. And so one of the conversations we had was, okay, what does this look like now? When you start an endeavor, the climate is very different, and we were able to use ARP funding because we know that STEM engages students, brings them to school. They love going to their different STEM classes. It brings that problem solving and the conversations and the social skills. So we're hitting on academics, we're hitting on social emotional learning. So it was a really good conversation to say, okay, where do we go from here? And to plan out, making sure we have regular times coming together now that we take these pieces and see how it all goes with those long-range plannings of the district, which we know is curriculum, horizontal vertical alignment, which is looking to see how do we meet those academic needs, the social emotional needs. So it was very exciting. So it was a very just robust day for us all as educators to be able to have that day to do that. So it was just a great day.
Thank you, Ms. Wright.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Mr. Forrest. Nothing else? No. It's always quick.
She took it off.
I know. Ms. Morrison. You're good? All right, good. All right,
Hold on, I wanna
we have something
produce here.
Oh, Mr. Paschke, that's right. I forgot.
So Mrs. Piper, just real quick, said obviously Halloween is quite the scene at Wheelock. They had a great time. The teachers tend to go above and beyond. She just wanted to know that the students had a great experience. And that's always a pretty big celebration, which then transfers into a lot of learning about Thanksgiving and friendship that ends, kind of culminates in a feast that they have for the students, so they're excited about that. Also in the background during this time of year, there are a number of parent-teacher fall conferences happening that are going well. The first report card is coming out here in the next week or so, and things have been going very well at Wheelock. In terms of Mr. Paschke, he wanted to highlight some information we just received also about our school newspaper, The Spectator. And we received 14 total awards in 10 categories, including silver for best newspaper at Syracuse University's Empire State School Press Association, a scholastic journalism competition sponsored by the Newhouse School of Public Communications. 16 students were individually honored, and we are also proud, we are absolutely proud of them and the entire staff for the work that they do year in and year out. As you know, these awards and accolades are not unusual, and each year we seem to do pretty well in terms of receiving some recognition. So, great job, nicely done by all involved, and we're glad to see that continuing again this year. They also, at the high school, had their first Pride 5K run this past week, which was very successful, and that's great. And has been mentioned, Mr. Paschke and the high school are also excited about the Veterans Day celebration and are looking forward to thanking our veterans for their service this Friday. And special thanks again, although it was mentioned, to Kristen Tomaszewski, who goes out of her way to just take leadership in this area and make it happen.
Yeah, so fantastic. A lot of good news from the administrators tonight, so thank you for all you're doing. Hot off the press, there's been a change of plans, so we're going to have a little bit of executive tonight. So we're going to move into executive. And this ends the general session, so we will not be reconvening and discussing anything else in general. Any students that are here, you're welcome to come up and get your form signed for the night. But can I have a motion to enter executive? So moved. Oh, I got both of these. So first, a motion and a second. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
You are welcome.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. Thank you very much.